Welcome, welcome, welcome to the check-in report on a live edition. Make sure you check in. And when you come in the door, make sure you wipe your feet. We have a lot to talk about today. Afrika Bambaataa, Zulu Nation, and tax dollars going to child predators. Say it ain't so, man. If you don't know, a protest is going down tomorrow, March 27th, and they will be protesting our tax dollars going to child predators like Zulu Nation. Zulu Nation has their links, and it's been shown that they have people working in close proximity, people that are on the board of members, people that are movers and shakers when it comes to the Universal Hip Hop Museum in the Bronx, New York. And we're here to talk about it, and we are here to call them out. We have child predators, people that ran through the black communities, took advantage of young black men. You know, Afrika Bambaataa, he's been relatively quiet. He's been relatively aloof. He's been relatively in the background for a long time. You know, out of a few videos you've seen here and there of him walking around Bronx River, you see him, doing this and doing that. He's really relatively in the background. And now we see that, he has his enablers, people that have, been around him when he's been doing these things, when he's allegedly been, touching the children, doing sexual mischievous things, doing things detrimental to the black youth of the community. And now we have these men that supported him, backed him, that are highly involved in the hip hop museum, and that's an issue. Children visit these museums to learn, to get their educations, to find out the history of hip hop, and we can't have child predator enablers running around the museum and red shirting children. Hit that bell one time. We can't have child predator enablers running around the museum and red shirting for Afrika Bambaataa. So people need to come out for this. People need to support this protest that is going down March 27th. We're going to play a little clip here about the federal money that is being dished out for this museum here. Let's play this clip real quick.
Hip-hop royalty and local leaders were on hand to celebrate the soon-to-be Universal Hip-Hop Museum.
All my techniques and all my styles, no, I didn't patent them. But I thank God that I'm standing here, co-created a culture.
Now we have federal tax dollars, not only New York State tax dollars, but federal tax dollars being given to people who enabled predators like Afrika Bambaataa. We're talking in the sums of millions. Your tax money, my tax money, being dished out, being shelled out to child predator enablers. Let's continue with the clip.
That is now unarguably the biggest music culture on planet Earth.
The project to build a state-of-the-art facility that preserves local and global hip-hop getting a boost in the form of $5 million in federal funding. Senator Charles Schumer says the museum will have a positive impact once it opens.
Since its inception.
Now, how can it have, let's talk about it. How can it have a positive impact when you have child predator enablers on the board, on the committee, working in close proximity. We're talking about people. If you know anybody who's familiar with Hassan Campbell and his stories, a lot of the men that he mentioned, that were in the backgrounds of the Zulu Nation are working in close proximity with the Hip Hop Museum. That raises an issue. We're talking about children here. We're talking about the lives of children. We're talking about the safety of children is at risk here. Because we're going to have child predator enablers, people that supported Afrika Bambaataa when he was doing these alleged crimes. That's a problem in our community, and we cannot sit here and stand for it. We cannot sit here and give our tax dollars. This goes out to Eric Adams. This goes out to Chuck Schumer. This goes out to the New York State Assemblywoman. You are giving tax dollars to enablers of child predators, to enablers of people who shut their mouths, closed their mouths, people that did nothing, sat there, did nothing, said nothing, did not protect the children one bit in the black communities, in the Bronx River, and all the places that Afrika Bambaataa has did these alleged crimes. And you hear people, and I heard, we gotta address Fat Joe. We're gonna play his clip as well. We're gonna unpack a lot of things tonight. But I heard Fat Joe say that, Afrika Bambaataa, he's never been charged with anything. He's never been formally prosecuted. He's never been, there haven't been any, type of updates on his criminal case. He did go to court in a civil case that I believe that he lost, but he only lost because he didn't show up. But there have been numerous men, and these are grown men. And we're going to play some of the testimonies. We're going to play, rest in peace, OG Pint. We're going to play his clip talking about Afrika Bambaataa. We're going to unpack a lot of things tonight. But there are numerous of men, shout out to Star Report, that have come forward and that have said their stories. And these are grown men. These are grandfathers. These are grown men with marriages, grandbabies, kids, mortgages, grown men telling their story about how Afrika Bambaataa stole their innocence, stole their childhood, disrespected them, disrespected the sanctity of those children. I'm calling to action for hip-hop. For hip-hop. I know hip-hop is morally corrupt. Debauchery is about capitalism. But this is one thing that we should stand up for. We should stand up for the children. For the children that have been desecrated by Zulu Nation and Afrika Bambaataa. Let's talk about it. Let's see to play this video. Let's get to this video.
50 years ago in the Bronx. It's one of the reasons we need this museum to remember, to spread the word, and to show what greatness the Bronx has.
Let me get to the mini player.
The former Bronx Borough president,
because we gotta play Fat Joe's clip as well.
Diaz Jr. says the museum project is a boost to the borough's economy.
That goes a long way to the local economy. It goes a long way to promoting tourism. It goes a long way to creating jobs. It goes a long way to celebrate and pay homage to our natural resource, according to my friend Fat Joe, which is hip hop.
The museum grants are part of a larger investment in the development where it's located, Bronx Point. Money will also go towards creating a mixed-use space that includes housing. The funding will help create the museum construction and create.
We're going to get to the Afrika Bambaataa clip as well.
In kindergarten through 12th grade. Some calling that a game changer for future generations.
A plan that educates people not only on hip hop, but their own self-worth.
Is that whole ass dude, KRS-One? See, now I'm really about to go in. Here we have another enabler. KRS-One has been enabling Afrika Bambaataa from the beginning. Numerous men, as I stated, numerous men have came out and supported. Numerous men have come out and give their claims. I mean, how many victims of Afrika Bambaataa do we need to come out over and over and over? We have Hassan Campbell, we had OG Pint, we had Ronald Savage, and numerous others of men that have come forward and that have said that Afrika Bambaataa destroyed me. He desecrated me. He violated me as a child. At what point do we say, you know what, Afrika Bambaataa, pioneer, but he's a messed up individual. He needs help. He desecrated those children. He violated those children. At what point do we believe the victims instead of the highly figure? This is exactly what went on with R. Kelly. People didn't want to look at all the messed up stuff that he did. They were looking at the celebrity. And that's what we have. We have KRS-One, who has been enabling Afrika Bambaataa from the very start. So let's get into this Fat Joe clip. Let's play this one next. We got to get through these clips.
I have a challenge for all of you. Go to every computer.
Well. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this real good, man. Hold on, man. This 1 second.
Your house, your mom's, your dad's, your sister, your brother's computer, and install.
All right. Hopefully we get to the clip here. Bear with me. We're trying to get to this clip here, man.
Let me know when
I want to get to where he was talking about this whole thing with Afrika Bambaataa. Hopefully we can get to it without all the music.
It's like this. It was news to me because I never seen nothing, never heard nothing.
Hold on, let me just bend back a little bit. Right.
But some people are accusing him of being a child pedophile or somebody who used to play with the kids. I wasn't there. I never seen nothing like that. Now, I'm not discrediting anybody who's a victim.
Fat Joe, you are discrediting them because instead of saying, let's give these guys a voice, let's give these guys, you know, some type of platform that they can talk. You have a whole Instagram show here, Fat Joe. Why can't you talk to some of these alleged victims and let them have their story? You know, is Afrika Bambaataa a celebrity more important than the people's lives that he's destroyed? At what point do we say, let's give these victims a voice? Let's give Hassan Campbell, Ronald Savage, and the other men that have been desecrated by Zulu Nation and Afrika Bambaataa. When do we give them a voice? I mean, are we just going to sit here and just be docile and just, you know, hey, just because he never went to court, just because he never been criminally prosecuted, then ultimately that means that, oh, it's not true. That's not, these things are very complex. These things are more multi-layered than what they seem. A lot of men, a lot of young boys that have been, you know, violated don't come forward. Don't tell their stories. Don't tell their, you know, their pains and their strifes. So shame on Fat Joe for sitting here and just, you know, throwing away the allegations, throwing away the victims, and not even showing a care and not even putting them on his platform. Put these people on your platform and let them talk. Let them give their stories instead of just putting, you know, Afrika Bambaataa on a pedestal and just saying, well, we didn't get any criminal prosecution, so ultimately it must not be true. But let's get back into the video.
Or anybody who said this really happened, it happened to them. I'm not trying to make you think I know and I was in his bed or I was in his room or I was around him to see stuff like that. Me as a hip hop fan, I only saw him at hip hop functions, and he was a graceful man. And so I heard little rumors like this. It was news to me because I never seen nothing, never heard nothing. And so I just said, let me mind my business and stay out of it, because
you've been doing a good job doing that, Fat Joe. I mean, let me mind my business. Let me sit on my hands. Let me eat my White Castle sliders, and let me not talk about the victims. Let me not talk about the allegations of a man that's a hip-hop pioneer. Let me just be docile. Let me just sit back. And that's what all of them have been doing. To the KRS-Ones, to the Q-Tips, to the Fat Joes, to all the men, all the rappers that were around Zulu Nation, that were around Afrika Bambaataa. They have been docile. They have sat on their hands. They have closed their mouths. And they have done nothing for the victims. I mean, how many victims from of Afrika Bambaataa need to come forward that we ultimately say, you know what? Something's not right here. We need to get down to the truth. We need to get down to what really happened. And nobody's doing that. Nobody's talking about that. All of the, shout out to Star. Shout out to Doggy Diamonds. Shout out to Sonetta. Shout out to all of the platforms. Free on Smash. Shout out to all the platforms that have reported the Afrika Bambaataa story from the jump, because clearly there have been people that have been suffering in silence for decades. I mean, we're talking about from the 70s to the 80s that this man has allegedly been committing these acts and committing these crimes against these young children, and these rappers continue to shut their mouths, continue to sit on their hands, continue to be silent, continue to not give these continue not to give these men that have been violated a platform. Fat Joe, why can't you put one of the alleged victims on your platform? Why can't you get in touch with a Ronald Savage? You may not be cool with Hassan or whatever, he said a couple things, but why can't you sit down and talk to a Ronald Savage, a man like Ronald Savage? Why can't you sit down with him and get his story and talk to him and find out what happened and get to the bottom of, at least hear what he has to say? Why do you have to sit on your hands and wait to absolutely do nothing and just to, say, well, that he's never been prosecuted? So what? R. Kelly went to court, was found not guilty. He still ultimately went to prison. So just because someone doesn't go to jail, just because someone doesn't ultimately get prosecuted, doesn't mean that they did. And especially with a crime like this, we're not talking about Afrika Bambaataa, tax fraud. Or we're not talking about Afrika Bambaataa stealing a little piece of candy out the candy store. We're not talking about Afrika Bambaataa doing those things. We're talking about children here. Children. That should be the one cardinal sin in the black community. The sanctity of our children, the safety of our children should be of utmost importance. Why do hip-hop rappers, the Q-Tips, the Fat Joes, the men that were around, Busta Rhymes, the men that were around Afrika Bambaataa, why do they continue to sit on their hands, continue to shut their mouths, continue to not give the victims a voice? Why? Why is that? Let's continue with this, Fat Joe.
I don't know it. If I can't stay there, if I can't stand there, if I can't see it, I can't really tell you what it is. Now, for the respect of what he did in Zulu Nation and all that, and I won't say, if it is proven that he's a child pedophile, that he's a piece of shit, he should die. It's a fact.
He's wilding right now. Should he go to jail? Absolutely. Should he, listen, man. Afrika Bambaataa needs to go to jail. He needs to go to jail, and he needs to, for the crimes that he has committed, for the people for the lives that he has destroyed. Yes, he needs to go to jail. He needs to ultimately be put in the steel bracelets, like they did Bill Cosby, like they did R. Kelly, like they did, other black celebrities. They need to ultimately put this man in bracelets, and steel bracelets, and put this man in a prison. And he needs to answer for the crime that he committed against these men when they were children. And there's even been another report when, not so long ago, when a child that he allegedly touched stabbed him. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, if he can still, this happened, within the last decade. This happened within, maybe maybe 6-7 years ago that this happened. This man is sick. If he's allegedly doing these crimes, if he's allegedly doing these things, it's time for hip-hop to stand up for something. You don't stand up for black women. You don't stand up for the black children in the black community. You don't stand up for, you don't stand up for anything. You just stand behind capitalism. And, it's America. We all stand behind capitalism. But if there's one thing that you should stand behind, it's the safety of our children. Fat Joe, KRS-One, Q-Tip, Busta Rhymes. It's the safety of our children. That's the one thing that you should be standing behind.
I've always told you that. Not about him.
No, I had enough of this, dude. We're going to go to OG Half Pint. Hopefully we can still find the his story. Rest in peace to this brother. I believe, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't want to speak and say what happened, but he talked about the things that occurred. OG Half Pint. Let me see if I can find this brother that talked about the things that he went through in this, dealing with Afrika Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation, and it's a sad story, man. Half Pint, yeah. Story. Let me see. Here we go. I think this is it right here. Let me hold tight with me.
One of the first people to come to Afrika Bambaataa's defense following his sexual abuse claims was KRS-One.
There you go. Like I said, one of the first people. I mean, he ran to the defense of Afrika Bambaataa. Instead of sitting back, getting all the information, getting all the knowledge, getting all the info and all the facts, all the details, he ran. It was almost like he was saying, because I remember watching the video, it was almost like he was saying, even if this is true, Afrika Bambaataa is a pillar in hip-hop, and no matter what he does in hip-hop, it should be fine. KRS-One, ladies and gentlemen. And these are the types of people, these are the types of enablers that they want to be in the hip-hop museum, that they want to be members, they want to be on the board, they want to be, a part of the hip-hop museum. Children aren't safe, if you ask me. If there's men like KRS-One, if there's men like Afrika Bambaataa, if there's men that have been enablers of Afrika Bambaataa, then that's a problem. That's a problem, because you have potential predator enablers redshirting for a predator. I mean, there's no way else to put it. There's no way else to put it. There's no way else to really talk about it, man.
who brushed the controversy off before releasing a statement clarifying his comments. In an interview facilitated by Doggy Diamonds TV, currently available to view on the site, OG Half Pint said to have a disturbing encounter with Bambaataa at just 12 years old before giving his thoughts on the reasons why the Zulu Nation was created.
This is a bit of his clip.
Take a look at the clip.
And I said, I got to go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom. About 4 seconds later, this nigga comes in the bathroom. You know, don't Half Pint, I got to get something out the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Comes in the bathroom, look at the medicine cabinet, don't find it. But then I'm peeing already. This nigga whips he said, oh, I gotta pee, whips his dick out and pee. And I'm looking at his dick and he looking at my dick. And I'm 12 years old.
And this is what I'm talking about. How many victims need to tell their story? Think about it. You got Ronald Savage, OG Half Pint, rest in peace, Hassan Campbell, and I believe Star did an interview with at least 2 to 3 other men, including Ron Savage was on that panel. So you have at least 4 to 5 victims, maybe 6 to 7 victims, really 6 to 7 victims, really, that have come forward. Fat Joe, KRS-One, Q-Tip, Busta Rhymes, all the former Zulu Nation members. I know y'all guys are hiding now. You guys aren't really claiming it like you used to. You used to wave the Zulu flag near and dear to your heart. But now that all these allegations, you're hiding, you're ducking. I wasn't really with that. I wasn't really with them like that. I was just hanging around with them. I wasn't really with them. You know, at what point do we believe the victims? At what point do we take the celebrity, we take the pioneer, we take him off his pedestal, and we put the victim on the pedestal and give them a voice? At what point? March 27th, the protest for your tax dollars, our tax dollars, being sent to men who have enabled Afrika Bambaataa, who have enabled him, the endless children that their voices have not been, heard, their victim stories not been taken serious, laughed at, March 27th, man, people need to come out and protest. No person, no member, no former affiliate of the Zulu Nation needs to be a part of this hip-hop museum that children will be visiting and that will be going there to be educated. None of them need to be in the vicinity of that museum. Absolutely none of them. Should Afrika Bambaataa be a part of the hip-hop museum? Yes. He is a pioneer. He should be in the museum. But should he be celebrated? Should he be, rewarded? No. Absolutely not. Put him in the museum. Give him his honors. That's it. No Zulu members should be a part of this hip hop museum. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. It's utter stupidity and nonsense. And March 27th, the protest is going down. Don't allow your tax dollars, don't allow your money, your New York State money, your tax money, your federal tax money that you work hard for be used to enable predators in the black community. This needs to stop. This needs to end. No Zulu member nation should be a part of this. None at all. And those are my thoughts. This is the live with the check-in report. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'm out of here. This has been a great chat March 27th, the protest of your tax dollars, your hard-earned money being spent to enable child predators and child predator enablers. Make sure you guys go out there and let your voices be heard, and let the victims of Afrika Bambaataa, the alleged victims of Afrika Bambaataa, let their voices be heard and let them finally be seen. And those are my thoughts. Thank you for joining me. Check and report.